You helped pull me back from the darkness.
You are always with me.
Clouds give way. Bring blood to the door, silence the drum.
It's starting. If only they knew what was coming.
First question I wanted to ask you after watching the first few episodes of season 6 is, it got me thinking, if Jamie actually, the roles were reversed and Jamie had been the one to time travel and end up in the 1940s, how do you think he would have done? And this is a question for both of you. And do you think they would have fallen in love if they had just sort of met by chance, given that she was married? But if they had spent some time together, was it just the inevitable?
Wow. Yeah, I wonder how he would have done in 1940s. But yeah, I mean, I think it's inevitable, isn't it? But I know that Diana was very, very firmly set that Jamie will never, or could never travel. He doesn't have the gene, right? But I think, yeah, this isn't a romance or a love story that does span decades and hundreds of years. So yeah, I think they were meant to be together. Don't you?
Yeah, I don't think he'd be a very good driver. I think that's one of the things he'd.
Yeah, he'd be on horseback still.
Yeah, he'd be like trying to whip the car, trying to get it to move.
Yeah.
Of course, I think they would find each other. I think this is a metaphysical love story that spans time and space, and they're soulmates, right? So they'd be like lobsters; they'd find each other.
Settle the debate. I think about this all the time as I watch the series. I can't help myself. What message is Jamie there to deliver? What message is his ghost there to deliver? Do you guys think about it? And do you think about how the series is going to end up like the fans do?
Oh, are you talking about the ghost at the start?
Yeah.
No. Do we know it's Jamie's ghost?
I think they've revealed that. Yeah.
I think you revealed that, Sam.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, no, I do know. Actually, Diana has shared with me the last chapter, yeah, you'll have to keep watching to find out.
Wow.
But
what was your reaction?
yeah.
I don't want to know spoilers, but what was your reaction when she told you? Were you surprised?
I just like how we're gonna have to get there, right? I mean, there's so much more to tell, so much more of the story, and every season we try and fit in as much as we can, but we can never cover everything in the books. But we're getting there. Diana's just released her last book, and she's got one more to go. But well, I'm sure she won't stop. She'll keep going. But it's been such a great journey to go on from that very first moment. Actually, it was one of the first things I think I shot to now. It feels like we've come so far on this, and yet it's still a long way to go yet.
Caitriona, I know you were both producers on this season. What was your biggest takeaway from being a producer on the show? Is there anything that you really fought to have into the season, and how does this season differentiate itself from other seasons?
Well, I think one of the things that was more apparent this season than ever was just the practical challenges and complications of filming. And I think that's something that Sam and I really sort of got more involved in, or relished sort of getting more into those conversations this season. Our writers' room and our producers were in the States. We had one of our writer producers on set, but other than that, nobody really could come because of COVID. So Sam and I were there on the floor day to day, and it was really, you get more of an insight into what those challenges are and how we can help, how we can help be the liaison between crew, or we can help see what needs to be maybe improved or whatever. And in terms of stories, I think, it's more about shaping things. I think our writers do such a great job, but there are times when you feel that maybe you have a stronger insight to maybe what your character is going through, and you want to sort of highlight maybe that voice more than say another take on it. So I think there was just stuff, it was more just collaborating with the writers and trying to keep it very true to the character, I think.
I can't be two things at once, Claire. A rebel, a loyalist, agent for the crown and an enemy of the king.
You can't live your life afraid of being who you are.
My first question to both of you, congratulations on season 6. Richard, I know you joked during the pandemic. You said that you would really love the idea of doing a spoof on Outlander where you all switch roles. I don't know if you remember saying it or not, but if you were to do that, which role would each of you choose?
I think every day. Every day, I think who would play, and every day my answer changes. Although I think I'd like to play Brianna. I'd really like to give my Valley Girl twist on Brianna. I think that could be quite interesting and a lot of fun.
Care to demonstrate?
To be like, hey, you guys, I've invented matches. How clever am I? I can start fires wherever I go. Want to see?
I just want to point out that this isn't a thing that he would like to do. He does this on set every single day. It's like I say a line and there's this echo Valley Girl version where Richard's just taking the mick out of me. It's like, okay, there he is.
Okay, so retaliation. Which one are you who are you choosing?
Well, I wouldn't say Roger because even if I took the mick out of Roger, I'd never hear the end of it, and Richard would just rinse me for my Scottish accent. So even if it was perfect, so I think I'd play Rollo because that dude, he's just having a blast. He just runs around the fields, just doesn't listen to anyone, runs through shots, just living the life.
Got it. Okay, so the PB&J scene last season, it kind of made me think, like, when you guys are all together, because there's a lot of scenes where you're all together, a lot of seasons when you're off on your own. For a fly on the wall and fans of this series, can you sort of break down that scene and what is going on? Paint us a picture.
Well, first of all, the peanut butter was extra sticky. And so if we took a bite and then you're trying to say a line, it wasn't working. And also Caitriona and I always seem to be the two in those scenes, and Richard will support me on this, where we eat a lot at the beginning, and then obviously for continuity purposes, once you've eaten a lot in one take, you have to eat a lot every other take. And so then we're always tripping ourselves up because the food's always amazing. We have this French chef and he's awesome and it always tastes so good. And when it's wasted and no one's touched it, I feel really bad for him. So we make a point of trying to have a bit of everything. And then by the end of the day, you're actually just like, oh, can't eat another bite.
Oh, is that your excuse, Sophie, that you feel bad for the chef? Is that why you eat all the food?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it knows I didn't eat a lot of it. Yeah, but I do though.
Richard, I know you joked that Roger has changed so much from season 1 that you almost think if the two of them met, they wouldn't get along. Can you sort of break down how that meeting would go, and which one would you personally rather hang with?
What a great question. I'm not really sure I can answer that, Nikki, without being quite damning to myself and my character. How would that mean go? I mean, Roger of season 6 is obviously a lot more experienced in terms of the world in which he lives. He's definitely hardier. He's been through a lot. He's probably quite psychologically damaged. So I think I'm not sure how much time he would have. Although they have history to connect with, don't they? So they'd probably get on along for a while until Roger of the 18th century decided that Roger of the 60s was maybe a bit of a wet blanket, and before advising him to go home and have a cup of tea and get to bed early.
I feel like season 6 Roger would tell season 2 Roger just be like, mate, she's amazing. Stop messing it up. Just
No, it'd be like, listen, a girl's going to come into your life quite soon at your father's funeral. Stay clear of her.
Run.
Go back to Oxford. Find a nice young girl at Oxford. Marry her and have a happy, quiet life. It's probably what he would say.
If America doesn't become America, who knows what that world will look like?
What would that mean for a family?
The clock is ticking.
First of all, I want to jump in without spoilers. The first few episodes of this season, the two of you have a scene that could kind of rival Jamie and Claire in terms of love scenes.
You think so? Oh, thank you for thinking that, Nikki.
Oh my God. Thoughts, feelings, emotions when you read that part in the script and then actually acting it out?
That's such a good question. Lauren, you want to go first?
When we first read it, I think both of us were like, what? Why?
Yeah, we had a couple of questions. The writers.
And we were like, can we have a call? Let's have a call with everyone. So we had a call. By the end of it, I mean, like the two of us were best friends and we are really comfortable with each other and we worked it all out beforehand. Everything is prosthetic, which is delightful and is really helpful in that scenario. I mean, I'm pregnant, so like these change when that happens. So that was really helpful. And I think we both were like feeling very blessed for that. So yeah, it was great. I had fun.
My face wasn't prosthetic though. But no, it's a tricky one because like we often talk about, but that's what's lovely about Outlander. You know, you're telling a story about 18th century truth, you know. So of course we had this goal, and it was so nice to talk to Maril and Matt that would explain us so precisely and beautifully why we were doing that. And actually, as an actor, you want to do like difficult, challenging things. That was one, because like we wanted like to, you know, you go from one place with that exact scene from one place to another, but we wanted it to make it like look cute and not weird, not like one-sided. So it was a bit of a dance, but I think we found a rhythm doing it. And I'm happy if it looks cool.
Beautiful scene. It really, I've watched the whole series and it really stands out to me. You both are doing beautiful work. At the end of season 5, you got to participate in the 60s sequence. I know you both had a lot of fun doing it. It kind of made me think that how would Marsali and Fergus do if they were actually transposed in the 60s? How would their relationship do? And how would they each do as individuals? Would they do well, do you think?
Yeah, I think they were meant for the 60s. You know what I mean? I think actually.
I remember when I put on, like, I was given loads of vintage, like a rail of just beautiful vintage clothes to try on. And one of the first ones I tried on was the yellow dress. And everyone was like, that's perfect. I think this is all meant for you. And we'd walk on set and everyone would be like, you guys are meant for now. Like, this is where you all look comfortable. I much prefer it to like not wearing a corset and a baby bump and a bum roll and like having my whole body different. Like, that's really nice. That was really fun to do. But yeah, it was great. We had so much fun filming those days, despite the fact that it was quite like a dark sequence to have to think about. I think everyone really respected it and was really aware of what we were doing. But there's also got to be levity on days like that where you have to enjoy yourself. And we had to also, like, you know, act. It was a happy time. It was a happy night that we were experiencing for the downfall to then really have the impact it needed to have. So we did have fun.
As I'm watching the show, I'm always theorizing how it's going to end, how, you know, what was Jamie's ghost there to say? What was the message? Do you each have a theory yourselves about where your characters end up and how it ends? Do you think about it and do you have a theory?
For season 6 or
for the end of the whole series? Because I know it hasn't necessarily been written yet.
So Lauren and I are not reading the books that are to come because for many reasons, but we have something that is lovely. We have amazing fans that we end up meeting at fan conventions. And it's like, we have these like super precious interaction with them where they're like, they okay, I would start like that. They would tease us being like, ooh, stuff happened to you in book 9. And I'm like, what? Tell me. And it's so cute because I end up talking to a woman that is a fan of Outlander, of us from Chicago or somewhere, and it would be like, oh, and she has so appetite to tell me like, oh, this happens to you and this and that and that. And I'm like, but how old am I supposed to be in this book? She's like, 45. And I'm like, but I'm never going to be 45. So I gotta do that.
They just keep being like, you've not died yet. You're still alive. You're not dead. And I'm like, great.
So we love that.
Yeah.
We love that. But I'm actually very much looking forward to it. But I have good hopes because like already I love how not linear the story is, you know?
I would really love them to get to go through the stones. I think that would be fun.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you're reading the books, but I know that we might learn more about where Fergus is actually from, whose Fergus' dad is actually, and this is a big surprise, but I cannot say more.
If you guys did jump to 2022, because I think you're the most modern characters, what would be each of your favorite movie, do you think? Or would you be into reality TV? What would be the thing? Your characters, meaning.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I want to say Belfast because I saw it 2 days ago. My character is loves Claire so much.
Marsali wouldn't so much. She doesn't want to watch her life essentially, and then Belfast.
Yeah, no, Belfast is good.
So good.
Oh,
Beautiful
no,
film.
no.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. What would their favorite film be? Titanic? No, I don't know. I really don't know.
Actually, the boat.
Kind of cute, hot young couple. Why not?
Actually, Titanic is smart, Lauren, because they could remember the boat somehow, somewhere from a past life. You know what I mean? They fell in love on a boat, kind of, you know. So.
Share the raft. He would share the raft.
Yeah, there would be enough room for them to, like, for sure.
I don't belong here. Brianna, Roger, they don't belong here. But yet here we are, all of us. Because I loved you. More than the life that I had.
And this, I promise you, won't come between us.
Congratulations on the first 2 episodes of season 6. And I know you sort of, every season you sort of tease, there's like one word to describe the whole season. This season you're using the word revolution, which, either one of you can answer this question, which character do you think changes the most this season? And which relationship of the key marriages changes the most this season? Without spoilers, as best as you can tell us.
Wow, I think the changes probably happen to Marsali and Fergus. They have some massive changes going on in their life and the relationship. I think for Claire and Jamie, relationship wise, they're just steadfast. That's the way we see them in the writer's room. It's that never has this, how do we break them up? That doesn't come up. It's what do we throw at them? What parts of the book do we take and we throw this at their relationship and watch them endure, watch them, try to stay together, against all odds. So they don't really change in that regard who they are. It's just how they struggle to survive their world. And I think what you hit on at the revolution this season is both revolution in the world. Yeah. The world's going through a revolution, but also their community and their home at Fraser's Ridge is going through a revolution with the new visitors that have arrived, and you saw them. So,
oh my gosh, the new cast is amazing. And I thought it's interesting because the first 2 episodes, I thought, could there maybe be trouble for Jamie and Claire in the sense of it's the first time she's ever held anything back from him, that she's not telling him something, but I love to hear that they're very steadfast. Maril, a question for you, and you both talked about this before, how it gets, the books as they go along get more into the characters' feelings and that, and sometimes it's hard to dramatize. So you had the 60s sequence at the end of season 5. What could you tease for season 6? Will we see those type of visuals, or how do you provide that sort of visual for fans in season 6? Time travel.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, last year we took a swing at the fences with a few things, I think, in terms of visually kind of different looking episodes. I don't think, Matt, unless I'm wrong, I don't think we have anything quite like that, obviously, and certainly.
We do.
We do?
We do. I think that last year kind of opened the door a little bit, Nikki, in the sense that you kind of hit on it in that Diana's books are very internal. There's a lot of emotions and thoughts inside, Claire and Jamie. So to visually show that, and we stepped out of the box last year, and we're trying it a little bit again this year with there's a couple episodes that we do that. And it's later in the season, and it's trying to visualize emotions. That's exactly what it is.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I was thinking a whole episode necessarily, that like we did with the Roger hanging, but he's right. I think we did try something, he put it better than I did, visualizing some emotions that I think is really interesting. And I think we all are very excited about them.
As producers, I think, I forget which one of you said it, but that you make these shows and you adapt those books as best you can, and you put it out to the world, and then the world reacts. How do you infuse the reaction? Do you read? Do you not like to read it? Sort of, how do you sort of get that fan feedback and feedback in general to the show?
I read it like this. No, I actually love it. I say it all the time. We have the best fans in the world. Yes, occasionally you get some people who don't like what you do. It's natural. There are shows I don't like. I mean, we all have an opinion. It's very subjective, but honestly, I love that feedback. I love hearing what people thought. Everywhere it's just exciting. You live with this for so long. I mean, Matt and I both, this is a year-round job. We just finished editing on this season like a month ago. So it's still fresh in our minds. And it is hard to send your baby out into the world and have people judge it. But I just love it. I love this whole time of year where people are just starting to see the episodes, and every week you get new responses. So we have the best fans in the world. So it's always fun.
And I always say that it's the show isn't done until the audience sees it. So that's when it's finished to me. So
this audience absolutely loved the first 2 episodes. So thank you for another brilliant season, and thanks for the chat.